welcome. I am Valerie Louisville Coleman. I know y'all can't see me. You talk about technical difficulties.
Oh, no.
Okay, Shar, are you there?
I'm here. Yes.
Okay. So what I'm going to have to do is talk to you all through my phone, and hopefully it picks up on Shar's computer because technology has won today. But that's okay. We're going to go through and get this thing done. We are here today to talk about do it right the first time. Look, I done put on my makeup, got on my cute little hair done. We're going to let it go. Let it go. Let it go. But today we're going to talk about do it right the first time. And while I'm talking about that, let me tell y'all something. Shar has been absolutely phenomenal in putting together this anthology from the perspective of the social media marketing. I've been so tied up with all the other aspects of it. She has actually me when I couldn't get all the mechanics and all the cars. Shar is actually being my
No problem.
right now to help me while this technology does not wish to cooperate with me. So, Shar,
Yes.
tell everybody like a little bit about the story that you wrote and Do It Right the First Time.
So the story that I wrote and Do It Right the First Time is called Skyrocket Your Social Media Engagement with 9 Simple Strategies. So basically, it's for novice authors that really don't know what to share on social media. So I go through 9 different strategies to help increase engagement and also connect to your target reader.
So, and your strategies, what I like about your strategies are they're not this crazy outlandish. You gotta jump 3 times forward, skip on 1 foot, hop backwards once, do the little boogie, count to 29 backwards, using prime numbers only. You didn't require all that. It was a very straightforward, matter of fact approach that anyone can implement, even if you're not familiar with social media. If you're fairly new with this whole social media, it still works for you. So, yes, thank you for that. Let's read your bio really quickly. Halliburton, Q-Shar, L. Halliburton is CEO and founder of Q-Shar Detroit Publishing, LLC. She is a graduate of Les Brown's Power Voice System for speakers and coaches. As a certified life and professional coach, she empowers you to push past self-sabotaging, limiting behaviors to utilize your innate ability to excel in life and business. And as almost all of the people who participated in the anthology, you have multiple books. This participation, Do It Right the First Time, is not your first book.
No. Actually, this is my 4th anthology project and altogether 7th book. So I really love anthologies because you not only connect with your target audience and your tribe, but you connect with everybody that's contributing, everybody that's a part of the anthology. You increase your visibility times 30 because it's like over 30 people in this anthology. So you increase your visibility and you open up put yourself on a platform with other influencers and experts, and you increase your credibility and visibility.
Absolutely. There's so many benefits. When you get into an anthology that is well compiled, well executed, there are tons of benefits, like Shar just said. And then there's that cross promotion, there's that transference of credibility, there's that being able to publish a book at a much lower cost because a standalone book can cost you several thousand, whereas if you participated in an anthology, or quite a few of the anthologies that I participated in, the cost was spread amongst the authors, so it made it more cost effective to do. And then the whole, which is important, is having your bio included in the anthology. So now you have hi, Dr. Velma. She's coming up shortly herself. I'm glad you can hear us because I was concerned. Look, Jesus, we offend. But it's been it's just a great resource, and the fact that now you have another product, so you're expanding your product line, you're expanding your offering. And several of the participants had books, but not specifically on writing, publishing, and marketing. They might have had a Christian devotional, or they had a book on, or children's book, or like you said, some other anthology. So this way, when you're out speaking, because I'm sure you, like most other people, folks are like, hey, I want to write a book. What do I need to do?
Right.
So now you got something you can show them. You can give to them, like, look, well, not here. Offer this for what you could purchase. But now they have the opportunity of, having something tangible in their hands.
Yes.
That's phenomenal. So, yeah. And some of the co-authors, if I'm not mistaken, have connected to do things now that they've met each other, if you will. So I just connected Niecy Hedden Cooper, relocated to Charlotte. So I just connected her with Vanessa. Like, you ladies are in the anthology. You're both in Charlotte. You need to meet.
Yes.
So then there's that, what they call IRL, in real life, connection, as well as the virtual connection. And you just never know, as we work together to do better, and yes, things excel exponentially. I'm of the belief that, I think it was J. Paul Getty, I'm probably saying the wrong person. He said, I'd rather have 1% from 100 people than 100% of my own effort. Right? Because now we've got all this synergy. We got all these people working together. It take less work to get more done. So absolutely. All right, Shar. So just tease them with maybe let's say 2 tips.
Okay.
And I'm gonna put you right up here.
So the first thing is, if you are new to, or if you're a new author and new to social media, you don't have to worry about doing all the things and all of the different platforms. Start with one. So you will go in and experiment with Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Clubhouse, or Pinterest, whichever one you like the best. That's the one you start with, and build up your audience. Speak to your target audience. Create different posts that will speak to your target audience and pull them in. You don't want to just create a post so people can like it. You want to invite them to do something, to engage. You want to invite them to come into your world, because Facebook, Instagram, that is Facebook or Instagram, but you want to pull them into your world. So first of all, pick one social media platform to start on. And then once you start creating your content and getting engagement and start getting followers, what you need to do is go to the next social media platform. And once you get 1 or 2, you can get a sharing app like Buffer. And what happens is, when you use a sharing app like Planoly or Buffer, you'll be able to batch create your content. So maybe on a Saturday or Sunday, you'll sit down and create your post for the whole week. And then what you can do is schedule it. And once you schedule it, it'll free up time for you. I know in the beginning, for me, I would just go manually post. And when I found out using Buffer or Planoly, it makes it so much easier.
It does. And like what I tell my clients, because it can be overwhelming. And if you're like me, you go down the rabbit hole. Oh, that cat is cute. Oh, I got to go to that restaurant. Oh, I got to go to that vacation spot. Oh, next thing I know, I've been on Facebook for an hour and ain't done nothing I was supposed to do.
Yes.
So schedule your post, like you said. It goes, you can batch it in 1 week. You can maybe do a whole month's worth of content if you've already created the content, and just schedule it. So it looks like you're posting live on all your different platforms. Now, let me ask you this. I used Buffer for a minute, and it frustrated me when they changed it to it. It was easy at first. Everybody changed stuff. Too sweet, too. It used to be really easy, and then they changed stuff, and I'm like, ooh, I don't like changing. But can you post, like on Facebook, can you post directly to your profile page, or does it have to be a fan page?
You can post to, with me, Buffer, I posted to a business page. So my QD Publishing business page, and then I just share it to my personal page. Just like Instagram, it's a business page, and LinkedIn, you can post it to your personal page. But I've been using and posting it to my business page, but you can either or, whichever one you choose.
Okay. And then on Facebook now I have to feature, and Dr. Velma, Miss Queenie is here. Hey, Miss Queenie, she does a podcast, so you all get in touch with her too. She does, interviews authors specifically. But with Facebook now, they have the Meta Business option for your fan pages, and then you can go in and schedule those.
Yes, you can.
You can pick the time, and the last time I checked, it'll tell you like the optimal time. It says this week your audience or fans or whatever it calls them, they are more engaged at 8 p.m. Oh, okay. Well, then I need to post at 8 p.m. I don't know why they're engaged at that time, but I believe Facebook. So that's been a great resource as well. Okay, Ms. Shaw, let's talk about some of the stuff that you did to promote this book. So let me clarify again. Shaw was very active in the pre-launch when we did the call for authors to find authors. We ended up with 32 authors. We were part of Shaw's effort to collect people. I think at least 2 or 3 of the authors came because they knew you. They didn't know anything about you. They met me through you. So at least 2 or 3 of the authors came from that direction. I think it was Lita and Lori.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So 2, maybe another one. I just can't think of who. And then with the pre-launch of the actual book, so you helped to promote the anthology, call for submissions, and now that we're in this campaign to launch the book, you help with that as well. So talk about some of the stuff you've done. Because honey, you saved my life. Let me just
wow. So the apps have been such a great help to me. Canva is my number 1 app for creating the posts. It just made it so much easier. Canva is like the best tool that they have for creation. Now, I wouldn't even consider myself a graphic artist or anything like that, but I am creative. So I'm able to go in Canva and create these different posts by just playing around. And so, I mean, I'm not an artsy person, but I'm just creative. I have different ideas and things like that. So I'll play around with the app. So Canva has been very, very helpful. And also the Headliner app. The Headliner app is really good when you have audio that you want to convert to a post. So with the Headliner app, you're able to take snippets of interviews because you had interviews. For instance, you had interviews with attorney Nakia Gray about copyrights and licensing and things like that. So I was able to chop up those audio interviews and then upload it to Headliner app where we get snippets of some of the different things that she's talking about in reference to copyright and licensing. So
that was a great tool that you did, and it was time consuming.
Yes, very, very time consuming.
I learned some stuff, but it was a great tool, and actually, Nakia has taken that and added it to her Facebook page and done some resharing and created her own infographic with it with the interview. I'm like, okay.
Yes, I saw that. That was awesome.
It really is nice. It really is nice. So, Char, we did something, the swipe file. I might be using the wrong terminology.
That's right.
Is that the right term?
Yes.
Okay, thank you, darling. We created this zip file that had all the posts for the authors to help them recreate the posts that we had already done, to recreate it, to customize it with their specific infographic or their website for purchasing their books. But talk about some of the benefit of doing that type of cross promotion, I guess.
So having the swipe files and all the posts already created and then sharing it with all the authors, it just boosts the visibility. If people, if the authors take it and share it, then it's just you're all together working together in order to promote, and it just increases the visibility. It increases interaction, engagement. So you're able to create the post beforehand, and then the authors can just go into the swipe file and grab the post. If they want to customize it, they can customize it and just post it on their social media pages without reinventing the wheel, without thinking of what should I say. We already have everything available for you. So it makes it very, very easy.
It was convenient. It was easy for the authors, but it took up the time.
Yes. Yes. And
we go through, we make changes, we edit, we create infographics, make videos through Canva. I like that feature in Canva too.
Yes. And Dr. Velma shared mostly every post that we had, so that was very helpful. just being able to, share it. And then like, yeah, it gets to be kind of overwhelming sometimes when you're trying to be creative and not trying to say the same thing, trying to say it different ways. And, but this book project has so much, it has a wealth of information. There was so many things that we can pull from the chapters just to talk about. So it was very, very helpful that we had over 32 authors and different topics that they talked about. So it gave us, more content to create the post about.
Absolutely. I'm about to pull Andrea Foy in, and I'm going to mute you until we're ready for you, but want to pull you on in here. This is Andrea Foy. She's going to be...
Hi, Andrea.
Shar came up with the idea of actually creating a workbook. I was like, girl, that's phenomenal. But there's so much content in this book. I felt sufficient to y'all that the ebook is live on Amazon. You can grab your copy now of the ebook. 3 ebooks. It's a series of 3 books. And then and for anybody who gets today and then let me know that they got it, specifically during this interview time, 6 to 8, then you're going to get a whole list of digital files. Shar sent something on social media. Tanita sent something. Joylyn information. Dr. Velma has something that she sent us a digital download. So you're going to get 5 different digital download documents, as well as somebody's going to win some hard copies of books. Authors, the contributors send me hard copies of their books. So one person is going to get those books. 7 or 8 books over here. Maybe about 7 or 8 books they're going to get, plus the digital downloads. And then I'm going to give somebody the workbook. Get back to that workbook. That workbook, because the book itself, if I had left it as one book, it would have been 500 pages. Let me tell you, I was intimidated.
Ooh.
Jesus. So 500 pages was too much. That would be intimidating, right? I mean, if you're a new author or looking to be an author, encyclopedia says, here you go, everything you need to know. It would have been overwhelming.
Yes.
So we split it up into books. And the ebook's available now. The print version of the book will be probably available in October. Something that I'm learning through because of the pandemic, they have a significant paper shortage issue, a labor issue, and because of that, a lot of them have a backlog issue. So one printer was sitting there 4 months out. Wow. Another printer, but I've got a couple other printers, and they're like, we can work it out. So we're shooting still for October. So for those of you who want to get the print book, in the name of Jesus, let's stand in agreement that we have it available in October. So Shar is so graciously going to stay on the line because I said before, I had this technical difficulty where my microphone and my camera on this brand new laptop won't connect to StreamYard or Zoom or anything. It's something I need to get fixed. I tell you, that technology, I'm a pretty smart person, but when technical stuff happens, it sends me straight to the, oh Lord, the stupid zone. But that's okay. Yes, Dr. Velma, that was a great idea she had with that workbook. So what I'm doing with the workbook is going through each contribution and then actually adding in what the authors, not adding in, capturing the essence of what they said and then putting in action items. So now when you read Shar's story, it's like, okay, decide here's the different platforms. Which ones, go research and figure out which one is best for you. Now here's what you need to do on that platform. Do, and then so it gives them a step-by-step to take this behemoth of writing, publishing, and marketing and making it into manageable bite-sized steps. So I think that was a great thing for Shar to do. All right, Ms. Shar. Thank you for staying on the line. I'm going to bounce back and forth.
Sure, no problem.
I appreciate you helping me out. I owe Shar dinner. I'm gonna send you something. Gift card, something.
Thank you.
It's just the right thing to do. You just helped me immensely through this process, and I thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, Boy.com is our website. Let me tell you about Andrew. Now, Andrew and I have been working together for a long time. I published her first book, Higher Power. She is on my billboard banner of my boastful client, so I have her on that banner. But her story in the anthology is 7 Tips to Speak to Sell. So Andrea is an international author, speaker, and coach. She is a distinguished Toastmaster with Toastmasters International, which is the highest level you can achieve, if I'm not mistaken. Is that correct,
Correct.
Andrea?
That is correct.
Oh, we can't hear you.
I can hear her, but I don't know.
You can hear.
I can hear her. Yes.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
You didn't. Okay. Yes. Distinguished.
What I'm going to do now is, Char, I'm going to hang up from you, and I'm going to call Andrea. And Andrea, put me on your speaker because I can't hear what you're saying.
I need my cell phone?
Yes, she's going to call you.
Okay. Hold on. I got to get my cell phone. I left it so that no one. I'll be right back.
Okay.
We're gonna work it out.
But you know what? You're making it happen. So many people get frustrated when these technical difficulties happen, but you keeping it going. So you got to be creative. So.
I'm
Amen.
Okay, so I'm going to. I think what I'm gonna do is add Andrea on. Okay, Michael, drop.
What I miss?
So she was just saying she's gonna are you gonna add her onto your call? You gonna call her? Do you have her phone number? Okay, she put me on hold. I think she's trying to call you, Andrea.
Yep. Do you want me to put you on speaker?
No, can you hear me?
I hear. Say it again.
Yeah, you must hear me through your phone. My computer is not working, so you hear me through your phone. So yeah. That'll work.
Okay. I can hear you.
No, there's an echo that's happening now.
Oh, okay, so I'm gonna let me
you want me to hang up?
Yes, please.
Okay. All right. Bye.
Look at Dr. Velma. I know that's right.
Yes.
I think this book is a confirmation that this is a great project.
Yep.
So I guess people hear me on the Facebook through your phone right now. What's happening?
Interesting. Okay.
My microphone ain't working, so they must be hearing me through your computer. Tell you, Shar, can you still hear me? Let's see if she
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. We're good.
Yeah, for now, but I got to get the next guest. Benita, I got her number. She called me today. Look at God. Okay. So Andrea, let me finish reading her bio. Andrea, distinguished Toastmaster with Toastmasters International. She is a certified women's empowerment coach and a certified John C. Maxwell speaker, coach, and trainer. Andrea's favorite professional accomplishment is speaking at the first interdisciplinary Prince conference, and that's Prince as in Purple Rain Prince. Yeah, so she spoke at the very first conference about Prince. She is an avid Prince fan. You ain't gonna tell her that anybody loves Prince more than her. She had all kind of personal experience with Prince. And Andrea has published 4 books and contributed to numerous anthologies. So Andrea, your story is 7 tips to speak to sales. So tell us a little bit about your speaking career.
So my speaking career began because I wrote the first book that you had published, and I, like many first-time authors, thought, I wrote the book, I'm done. I'm just going to sit back here. Oprah's going to call. Everything's going to be cool. And as an introvert, shy person, you write the book because you don't really want to talk to anybody. And I found that was not the case. People started, thankfully, asking me if I did presentations. And the first couple of times I was like, why would I talk about the book if I wrote it? Because, you think the book is out there, just read it. But people wanted to have a presentation to go along with it. And then, so I turned them down. Then I realized there was money in it. People were asking how much I would charge to do a presentation and can they buy the books? And I realized at that time, in order to sell the book, I was going to have to speak. Hence, here we are. And that's how I got into Toastmasters and everything else.
So, Andrea, seems like I went to a Toastmasters meeting with you at was it the Patterson House or something?
We were at one together, and I don't remember where it was, but yes.
Yes, you've been doing this for a long time.
Well, I started the year, so my book came out the year that we published my first book. It came out, and like I said, I was literally sitting there with it that summer. It came out in February, and that summer people started asking me about it because they saw it on LinkedIn and on social media, and I was terrified to talk in front of people. That just was not going to happen. And I realized by about the third time someone asked me if you know, they could pay me money and I was not getting it, that I had to go somewhere. So I forced myself to go in 2010. So yeah, I've been speaking since 2010 because of the book. I would have never done it if I hadn't written the book.
And now you're at the highest level of Toastmasters. You've spoken about your favorite artists
in Europe. Flew all the way to
right.
Europe. Yeah, so I'm an international, really, because I went to Manchester, United Kingdom, to speak.
So you let your gift make room for you, and I think what's important to note is that you were open to the opportunity, where some authors, a lot of authors are right-brain introverts. That's
right. That's me.
Like you said, right? Hopefully Oprah called. Now, if Oprah called, you probably would have been like,
Well, you know, like I said, at first I turned down a couple of, probably, you know, not big paying gigs, but I turned down like 2 of them. So I was literally turning down money. So anybody out there that's the first time author that's thinking I still can do this without speaking, maybe you can. But I, you know, after that 3rd time, when someone said, do you charge? Can we buy your books? I'm like, cha-ching, cha-ching, I'm missing something. So I better figure it out, you know? So that's what happened.
And I mean, I've been to events where I was a speaker and got paid a nominal fee, but thousands literally selling products.
Right.
Because when you speak, you get the opportunity to make your offer, people connect to you, they get to know, like, and trust you, and once they know, like, and trust you, they're more inclined to invest in you. They want to take a piece of you. But if you go to a city event, whether it's a book event or just a general event, if you have the opportunity to speak, I tell my clients all the time, speak.
Exactly.
And position yourself, not you're the expert.
Exactly. And if you have stories to tell, you can make them more animated and come alive in your speaking. You know, if you have stories with your tip, you could just say, as I said in the book, you tell the story and they just make it funny, just make it come alive a lot more than it's on the book. And people are thinking, I'm going to go get that book because I got to read that story. Especially if you say, and if you want to hear the rest of it, you got to get the book. You know, that's a great book.
And for today only, I have something on sale. I have this offer. Okay, here we have, I don't want to mispronounce her name, Noreko. I think it's Noreko. If it's not, I apologize. But she said, Miss Floyd, did you then go back and accept the offers you turned down?
No, I should have. Like I said, it wasn't like you said, it was a nominal cost. It was still the idea. But no, at the time, once I got into Toastmasters and got going down that lane, I actually started working on a second book, which is my book about personal safety for women, and went on from there to do seminars and webinars. But the first ones that I turned down, no, I didn't go back and say, I can speak now. You know. Really, forget, I missed that email. I deleted that email before, but hey, because I literally was like, I was terrified when I first saw the email. I was like, delete, I don't even know who they were for. It said speak, and I was like, bye, so. Oh no, I was not going to. And like I said in the book, my first speech, I was literally praying, like, just God, if you just kill me, I won't ever speak again. I just was terrified. So for people to know, that's one of my tips. You're most likely, if you're an introvert or whatever, you're going to be scared because it's new and it's different and you just don't know what you're expecting. But if you stick with it, I was so bad at my first speech, so awesomely bad that I had to redeem myself. I was like, okay, that was so embarrassing. I got to come back and show these people I'm not crazy. So that's why I came back the second time, and they were so encouraging. Then it got to the point, and then I went to do over 50 speeches and everything, which is basically half of what you do to become a distinguished Toastmaster. But I was bad. So if anybody out there is thinking there's just no way I would be bad, you got to be bad before you can get good. And I couldn't even hear myself. Someone taped me from the back of the room. And when I got home and looked at it, I could not hear myself speaking. So that's how bad I was.
Nothing beats a failure but a try.
I like I said, I just had to come back. I was like, I can't let these people. It was a corporate club, where I worked, and I was just like, I might see these people again, and I can't let them think, wasn't she the one that So I just had to come back and speak.
That's okay. I mean, like you said, you pushed forward and you did the right thing. So what other tip would you share with, say, somebody who is, maybe they're not afraid, they just don't know what to do when it comes to speaking. So, like, what type of advice would you give to somebody who's, like, been asked to come and speak somewhere, as you were?
Okay.
They're not afraid. They just don't know, okay, do I charge a fee? Do I do it free? Is it a presentation? Do I wing it? What suggestions or what type of questions would you tell them to ask to get clarity on the project?
Oh, right. A lot of things that you said were perfect. First of all, you asked, is this one, a fee, or are you, what is in your budget, or what is your budget? Sometimes some of the smaller ones do not have a budget. And depending on what kind of book you write, one of the people that did ask me, I do know it was a youth group. And I know not necessarily that they would have any money, but you do go for the experience, especially if you're new. The best place to go is somewhere smaller audience and not get paid. So that you can practice and get used to talking to people and to get used to being around the room and looking at people and just everything that you need to do if you're not in a Toastmasters that you don't learn from a club. So it is okay. People say don't speak for free, but when you're first starting out with your first book, because you can get testimonials, you can ask people, you can say, okay, if I'm not going to get paid, can I bring my books and sell from the stage? Like you said, can I sell those? And also, can I ask people, you can ask them record on your phone, can you tell me a little bit about what you learned from my speech or whatever? And then you've got those that you can put on your website and everything. Use those testimonials of people that enjoyed your presentation. And
that's good. I do the testimonials too when I do live presentations. I actually, Pam Perry, saw her doing with her iPhone. She purchased it's called a iPhone that doesn't it doesn't amplify your voice. What it does is cancel all the background noise. Okay. So you can be in a loud room crowded with all these people and background chatter, dishes clashing. But when you speak into the microphone, it catches the person speaking to the microphone.
Oh, that's awesome. Sometimes you like to have the background so that they could see what was going on and that it was an exciting conference too. So
yeah, well, I happen to stand in front of one of my banners for branding.
Right.
And if there's people talking.
And that's the other thing that you would want to have is make sure you have a good branding package, bookmarks, business cards, a banner is nice, something to leave for people, little brochures. I learned from you to do that foldable brochure that had the ordering information, have all of that stuff with you in a tote bag that's preferably has your book on the tote bag, complete branding, pins, everything with you so that you can leave your mark with people. Even if you don't get paid, you're still spreading out and they can still go to your website. Make sure you have a website, have it on something. They still can go buy the book. Like I said, when I went to Europe, I wasn't able to sell the books at the conference that I was at, but I had them in a tote bag walking around. And after I presented, people were like, did you happen to bring the book? And I was like, well, of course. Yeah. So, but there's always a way.
Absolutely.
Yes.
That way you can stay in touch with them after the fact.
Mm-hmm.
If you fail from the stage, you can't pick an author or you can't fill your books back to the room or whatever, whatever they require, then you can collect emails. Stay in touch with me this way, and then, going forward, now we got something else going on. Okay,
right.
Michelle, I know I'm on the line. I appreciate you sitting there. Do you have anything to add about speaking? Because I know you speak too. You're looking like,
Well, I would say, make sure that you have a signature speech.
Right.
Based upon the content in your book. And you can tailor that signature speech based upon who your, target audience is. You can tailor it. But so make sure that you because your book has so much information, you can create at least 2 to 3 signature speeches from your book.
Mm-hmm.
So, and you can use that. And depending on, the event that you're going to, you can look for events where your target audience is. And then take that speech and then, use that to pull people into your world. And then if you have another offering, like a coaching program or something like that, the book is just the beginning. Mm-hmm. So I would say your book can open up such a world of opportunity for you.
Absolutely. That is a good point. And that works even for novels. So like for the Forbidden Secrets of the Goodie Box, my novel. And I have a signature speech from Master Magnet, five secrets to reveal lasting love. I think. I ain't done it since the pandemic. I ain't done it for 3 years. And those 5 secrets to attract and keep lasting love. That's what it is. But it's from mess to magnet. So yeah, that's a great idea. And each chapter could conceivably be a speech, depending upon how your book is laid out, especially if it's nonfiction.
Mm-hmm.
I know in her books on personal safety for women.
Mm-hmm.
And did the speech come first or the books? What come first, chicken or the egg?
Well, that's interesting. The speech came first because when I went to Toastmasters, and I was terrified, you have to come up with your own subjects. And I was like, what am I going to talk about? And the best tip I can give people is talk about what you know. Don't go out and research something. Don't go out and research, how trees are planted or whatever, if that's not something you knew. And I was a former flight attendant, so I thought, you know what? I'm just going to tell these people 3 tips on how for women can stay safe when they're traveling. As I know it, I didn't have to research it. I could just tell it without really having to write notes or anything. And so they loved that speech. And so I thought, hey, I got 3 more tips I'm going to tell you the next week. So the next week I told them 3 more tips. And people were like, this is perfect. This should be a book. And that's how I transferred from my first book to the second book, because I was like, actually, I've got tips, and then more tips and more tips. So the speeches came first. Then the book came, but because after I wrote the book, I had talked about it so much, that's why it was easy to go to the seminars and workshops and everything, because I had done them both together. So that's another way. If people are thinking, well, I don't really know what to write about in the book, if you're speaking, you could start a speech and it could take you places I never thought that I would, starting Toastmasters, would find a whole separate keynote address that my real passion was.
Absolutely, like you said, and because you're speaking to your passion, I think people like to taste the hot message. And when
Right.
they taste the hot, what tends to happen is somebody asks a question.
Right.
Right.
Right. Correct.
Your passion, yeah, you can.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yep.
We got a couple more people on the stream. I'm going to add them in. I'm going to mute you ladies. I'm about to add in Bonita Adams. And I'm about to add in Denise Walker. And ladies, let me say I'm having technical difficulties. So I may have to call one of y'all and use your phone, because my microphone and my camera is not working. Otherwise, all this face and hair and makeup I done be on the screen. Okay? So I'm going to introduce you all in just a minute. But let's get to this question. Hannah, what do you suggest are the next steps one starting out should do after writing, publishing a book? So what's the next step after writing and publishing? Well, Char, what would you say? I'll ask each one of you what your next step would be, and then I'll let Andrea go.
So I would say your book solves a problem. So whatever problem your book is solving, I would say the next natural step is to have either a course or have a coaching program to take your reader to the next level.
Mm-hmm. So have something, that's good.
Have something else powerful besides your book.
Mentorship, if you're licensed, maybe as a counselor or a therapist, don't call yourself a coach if you ain't been certified. I know my friends on here have been certified. Mm-hmm. Some people like, I'm a life coach. Well, we all could be life coaches if all it means is to live life. Mm-hmm. You got to have something. So, yeah, we want to make sure we have that. Okay, Andrea, what would you say to answer?
I would say do videos, either on YouTube or Facebook Lives or something to promote the book. Have your book, talk about it. You could do a little book club, depending on what the book is, and each week do a little short video on the chapter, telling a little bit about it, just enough to gain some interest, since we're still in this world where I'm not even sure how much speaking people are doing in person anymore, but you always can do like we're doing right now and talk about your book yourself on your page or on your YouTube channel. And that's a great way to do. You could either do the little shorts, the reels, little commercials, 5-minute video, the little, what's the thing, Animoto, what is it that, those little videos? So I would say definitely do promote it yourself that way, because as we know, if you're waiting for someone else to do it, like I said, Oprah never called. So I was able to get over it, but she just never called. So. Yes, yes. The phone would ring. I'd be like, Oprah. Oh no, okay. So.
So that was Andrea Foy. Andrea, I appreciate you so much for being on the line. Thank you for sharing your insight and information. You can connect with her at AndreaFoy.com. She has many other books. I think she has 20 by now.
Close.
Participation in andreaboy.com.
Thank you. Do you want me to hang up or no?
Well, yeah, hang up, and if we get disconnected, Shar, will you call me?
Okay.
Okay, so if I hang up, I won't mess everybody up. I can just hang up. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. You too. Bye-bye.
Okay, so I'm gonna have to call Valerie back. These technical difficulties.
Char,
Yes.
I love you.
Oh, I love you too.
Because you just have no idea where if y'all could see me, my stress level was like 20 feet above my head when I couldn't get logged in, couldn't get anything to work. And I'm like, what the devil is going on? The devil is alive. You know, I'm ready to start rebuking the atmosphere. But it worked out. So Dr. Velma says, thanks, Andrea. So Dr. Velma, I might need you to send me your number if I can connect with you. Okay, so Benita Sparks Adams. Let me read your bio real quick, and then I want you to answer that question from the young lady as well. So Benita M. Sparks Adams. Her website is writethevisionpub.com, and I will add that banner in a second. Her story was timing concerns, what's realistic. So Benita M. Sparks is the CEO of Write the Vision Publishing, LLC. This author and award-winning playwright uses her self-publishing lessons learned to help others get it done in an affordable manner. That's a big deal because I know a whole bunch of folks spend way too much money. Her inspirational self-help books and journals make the challenges of daily life easier to manage. So, Benita, tell us a little bit about yourself. Oh, no, answer that young lady's question. Please, you don't need to see it because I'm trying to do something else.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. I would say, piggybacking on what Shar said, depending on what.
Shar, can you hear Benita?
Yes, I can hear Benita, but you may not be able to hear her, but I can hear her.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, go ahead. I can't hear you. But as long as everybody else can hear you, we're gonna work it out. So go ahead. What were you saying?
I was just saying, piggybacking on what Shar said, depending on what problem your book solves or answer, I would say trying to network with some kind of group or organization that your book would tie into, helping them to be aware of your book and what you have to offer, and possibly you could be a speaker for them for something, volunteer for something, but getting in touch with some organization or group that your book ties into, and having some type of networking, with them, so that they can come to know you and what you have to offer, and perhaps, like I said, it might take volunteering at first, but just trying to see what they do, what they look for, and maybe somehow you guys can help each other.
So I heard nothing, Shar.
So
I'm going to let you take the lead on this part of the interview because I heard
sure.
nothing. I'm going to call you, Anita. So get ready to accept my call, okay?
So Bonita said that networking, finding groups that your message aligns with, and sometimes you may have to start out by volunteering, but making that connection so that you can share your message from your book to the audience that needs it. So networking with organizations that have a need for your message.
Hello.
You hear me?
Yeah.
Yes. Can you hear me? Okay.
Yes, I can hear everybody.
So do you want me to hang up because I don't know if it's going to be an echo?
Yeah. Okay.
It's going to be an echo.
Like we did last time.
Okay, I'll hang up.
Thank you, dear. So Benita, can you just put yours on the
Okay, it's on speaker. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Okay. She's sent me her phone number. I'm not mad about this, but we're gonna work this all out. Okay. So let me put the young lady's question on there. And then so you answered that already. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. All right, great. So now let me introduce Denise, and I'm gonna let her do the same thing. Okay, so Denise, you'll have to unmute yourself. So this is Denise M. Walker. Her website is denisemwalker.com. Her story is generating multiple streams of income from your book. Denise M. Walker hosts workshops, Hope in Christ with Denise podcast, and offers publishing services through Armor of Hope Writing and Publishing. Denise has penned 6 books and serves as a writing coach and copy editor of children's and nonfiction books. Okay, Denise, it won't let me unmute you, so you must have muted somewhere.
Okay, I can.
Okay, so tell us a little bit about yourself and then answer this young lady's question.
Well, as you said, I'm also an educator. I've just started my 23rd year as an educator as well. And I've actually now authored 8 books. And I write 8 books, and I write women's fiction and and Bible journals. So I create Bible journals. Can you hear me?
Valerie.
And just to answer the question, I would also add to what the other ladies have said I would say do a book tour where you would try to get on different podcasts and different blogs to share about the theme of your book. So that's something that I've done as well with my books.
Bonita, is Valerie still there?
Hear me?
Yes, she is. Valerie is still there.
I'm still here. I don't hear, but maybe Denise can't hear me. Denise, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
She's looking at me like.
So Denise said that you should do a book tour, and you can start with like podcasts to continue to spread your message.
Right. So I wanted her to share like what podcast, that platform does she use? I got somebody coming on at 7:40 to talk about podcasts. I was just curious as to which one Denise used. Denise, can you hear me?
I can. Can she hear me?
Okay. What platform do you use for your podcast?
I actually use Spreaker, and my podcast is hosted with Kingdom Influencers Broadcast. But I use Spreaker.
Okay, so you have a channel like under their network, if you will.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay. Spreaker, yes. Spreaker was one that was mentioned before as a podcast platform. Now, did you choose Spreaker because that's where they were, or had you looked into other options?
Well, they actually Spreaker, through their Spreaker, they push out to the other platforms like Apple and the other different platforms. So it goes out to lots of different ones, but the main one is Spreaker.
Okay, good stuff. All right, so we're gonna go back to Miss Bonita. Go ahead and get your sip, lady. I know it. VisionHub.com. So now I know that you are publishing other clients. Are you publishing? You're publishing other people, right? Or are you just like them through the process?
Yes, coaching and also helping publish. Mm-hmm.
Okay, and I know Shar is as well because she just posted something about a client who hit the bestsellers list or just debuted. And then Denise is serving people with writing as a writing coach and also as a copy editor. So what I wanted to share with the guest today is that sometimes it's not even about the book. It's about what comes after the book, the mentoring, the coaching, the teaching, the classes. So I have one book and I might have 4 or 5 workbooks that go with it, or the speaking engagements. So the book starts to brand, but then it expands out from there. But I see all of you are nodding like, yup. Because at the end of the day, if your book is, standard at $15, you got to sell almost 70,000 books to hit $1 million. If your goal is $1 million. If your goal is 100,000, you got to sell 7,000 books. That doesn't sound like a lot. that's 100,000, 7,000 books here. But that's a lot of work to sell 7,000 books. But if you offer a course or a program that's worth $1,000, that the investment is $1,000, but when they're done, they have a book, they have your knowledge, they have access to all these great resources that they can use forever. Some people want to say, well, it's $1,000, but it's $1,000. Now you have this intellectual property that you can use forever. You can now use my content to make money off of teaching other people what I taught you. So it's easier to get 10 people or 100 people to pay you $1,000 than 7,000 people to pay you $15. What do you ladies think? You agree? Disagree?
Definitely.
Yeah. A bunch of head nods. Because I think, and like for me, I started doing conferences because I was working with Vanessa Miller Pierce, and I didn't have a book yet, but working with Vanessa and traveling with her, I was meeting so many people. Dr. Velma said, welcome. She's going to be on in a minute. I was meeting so many people who were making crazy mistakes. Like back then, copyright cost $30. Now it's $65. Tell you how long I've been in the game. One day they paid $150 for a copy because she didn't know how to do it, so she paid somebody to do it. And I get it, they don't upcharge you, but it's a simple process. So she spent a 500% markup to do something she could have done herself, or found somebody to do it for her. And not that that's a lot of money, but if you do that on every aspect of publishing, because there's a lot of aspects to it, you can end up spending way too much and not necessarily get the results you wanted. Okay, Miss Doctor, I'm calling everybody doctor. Now I got so many doctors in the book. I'm calling. Got a doctor on the line waiting in the queue. I see you, Miss Siobhan, Dr. Siobhan. We're gonna be with you in a minute. But give us an example of a realistic time concern.
Usually when people want their book published, they've waited a long time to do it, and then when they're finally ready, it's like they want it done yesterday. They have a goal in mind that's usually very short, and it's not that it necessarily will take a real long time. It depends on a lot of things. Some people, the book they've written is very well written, and it can move through the process very quickly, because the editing process goes fast, and depending on whether or not it's a book that needs illustrations and other things, it might not take a lot of time. Some people just want an ebook. Ebooks are very quick to get out, but if you want a book printed, it's going to take more time. So it sort of depends on initially how long the book is, how well it's written, and then you will utilize other people's services. And so possibly if you have someone who is designing your book cover, if they're really busy, depending on how long it takes them to do that, that could tie up some time. If you're doing a children's book that needs illustrations, the illustrations take time. However, let's say you were just doing a book that was words and it wasn't real long. It's very possible you could move through the process pretty quickly. But right now, with paper shortages and work shortages and printers, sometimes you can have everything ready to go, but then you got to wait on the printer. So all of these factors that sometimes have nothing to do with you, but the fact that you have to use other people sometimes add to the timeline. And so in the book, I have sort of an outline of how long each process can take, but it kind of will vary from person to person because it just depends on so many different factors. But it is very possible to get an ebook out much quicker than a printed book, and it's quicker to get a paperback out than it is a hardcover. So I hope that kind of answers your question.
Absolutely. At the end of the day, because people ask me all the time, well, how long does it take to publish a book? Well, like you said, how's your editing? Do you need illustrations? Do you already have your cover design? Have you got your LCCN? Or you got your ISBN? Do you know where to get? Do you know? And it can increase exponentially depending upon their learning curve. and they're technical savvy, which, as we can see, I'm maneuvered around it, but nevertheless. Okay, Ms. Denise. So your story is generating multiple streams of income from your book, and we talked about several different strategies in general, but this mentioned one that we didn't cover just a few minutes ago. What type of strategy, or what would be a stream of income you would encourage maybe a new author to consider when it comes to their book?
Well, one of the things that I share, I don't know, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So one of the things that I share with, especially nonfiction authors, is think about your book more than just it being nonfiction for somebody to read it, but what other ways can you deliver that book? So one of the things I do with my nonfiction that I personally write is workshops. So I've hosted workshops. So I always, when I'm writing it, I think about it in workshop format so that I can break it up into pieces that way when I do the workshop. So that's another way that I would say is very beneficial with because like you said earlier, just having people to buy the book is not necessary, especially nonfiction. So you want to think of it in a way of a workshop. How can I host this as a workshop?
I'm assuming when you're hosting these workshops, you are either charging some type of admission fee, or somebody, an organization bringing you in and they're paying you to do it. Or do you use both of those models?
Both of them. Like last October, I did it at the Christian Book Lovers Retreat. And so I had to send a proposal to Vanessa Miller Pierce. And when they approved it, I was already coming to the retreat. So the people, they would come in to the workshop. And that's how I ended up selling out of my books at the retreat, because it was hosted as a workshop to show people how to do it, how to use the Bible resource.
Absolutely, because she just mentioned Christian Book Lovers Retreat, and Vanessa has a great retreat, ChristianBookLoversRetreat.com. It's in Charlotte in October. I spoke maybe at 4 or 5 of them about the Goodie Box book. And then one time I spoke about the book writing business. And yeah, she has a great crowd. I think one year pre-pandemic, she was expecting 500. Mm-hmm. I don't know what the numbers right now. I know one year she did it virtually, which is another thing to consider for authors,
Everybody's on mute.
Okay, so we just added in Dr. Siobhan. So, Benita, let me put your website up again. Thank you so much. And then you can find her at writethevisionpub.com. Her story is Timing Concerns What's Realistic. Let's keep it real. I had somebody hit me up. I want my book by September. Real bad. And then Denise Walker. Ain't got nothing. I want it by September of 2023. And so Denise Walker, her story is generating multiple streams of income from your book. She uses workshops and their conferences. Great revenue beyond your book. So ladies, thank you so much. I appreciate you for being a part of this anthology. I love everybody's stories. I forgot to tell Andrew that. All the stories are wonderful. I'm excited for what God is going to do. It's obviously going to be a big thing, because this book has caused me the most difficulties in any book I've ever published in my whole entire life. And I've published a lot of books. So this is going to be the one. Woo-hoo. All right, so ladies, thank you so much. Shar, I'm going to need you to call me back, because I'm about to hang up. Y'all not going to hear me for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
But
okay.
And while I do that, Dr. Siobhan, would you please talk about your... Okay, can y'all even hear me? Can you hear me? Hold on. Can you hear me?
Now it's double.
Now
So
it's double.
you're on Bonita's phone and my phone. So
Do you want me to hang up from my phone?
Yes.
Oh, okay, I'll hang you up.
All right. So much. Thank you so much, Bonita and Denise. I probably called the doctor a couple times. Okay, Siobhan. Oh, sorry, Dr. Siobhan. Did you? Oh, you got it on your look. You got it on your thing. I just didn't have it on your website, so I'm looking at your website. Okay, so
Oh, the website is correct because I've had this website many years, so it wasn't Dr. Siobhan Stewart until May of this year.
oh, because you had to mute, didn't you?
Mm-hmm.
do you need Dr. Siobhan to call you, Valerie?
Well, unmute your phone and let me see if I can hear her talk through you. Can you talk for me, Doc? Now Anita's hung up.
Can you, Dr. Siobhan, can you hear Valerie?
I can hear her.
She can hear you, Valerie.
Okay, but I can't hear
But
her.
she can't hear. Okay, so she's gonna have to Dr. Siobhan is gonna have to call you so you can hear her.
Okay. So I'm about to put my phone number in the private chat.
Okay.
She's gonna send it to you.
Okay.
Dr. Siobhan.
Yeah, because I thought I had her number. It's gonna be in the private chat inside of this.
I see it.
See where it says private chat?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she sees your number.
Oh, here we got another. Okay. Fine.
Can you hear me now?
You know, her phone just, oh, she's calling me back.
Okay.
Valerie?
Dr.
Dr. Siobhan was just calling you. You want her to call you back? Valerie? Okay, so it says the call is on hold.
Okay, now she's calling me, so let's try this again. Hello.
Okay. Dr. Siobhan, you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. Keep yours on speakerphone. We're going to work this out.
Okay.
Never like go round. He tried. Okay. So, and this is a perfect question because we have a children's book illustrator. But let me read Dr. Siobhan's bio first. And I'm saying doctor because she earned that degree. And it's a PhD.
Yes.
Am I right?
Your PhD. Yes.
And what was the concentration?
The PhD was in leadership studies.
Leadership studies. So she is a real doctor.
Yes, I am.
Honorary doctorate, but you know when you earn that degree, it rings differently.
Yes, it does.
All right. Yes, I know it does for you because you put in the work.
Yes.
So that's her story in the anthology was from dream to manuscript, strategies to jumpstart your writing career. Dr. Siobhan D. Stewart, PhD. That means she earned it. Is an accomplished author, coach, and speaker who conducts leadership training and development. She has written and published 5 books and contributed to several anthologies. Now, have you still been 5 books, or is it more than that?
Well, if you count my dissertation, I'm up to 6 because it's actually being processed through ProQuest to be published. I'll have a book copy, and it'll be a part of the ProQuest dissertations and thesis.
Okay. So now you have 6 books. Okay.
Yes.
Look. People who talk about doing stuff. These are people who have actually done things and get bestsellers list and serving other clients, helping other people do what they've already done. Workshops, classes, courses, speaking engagements. You know, I've got I don't know everybody's financial situation, but I know a couple of the participants are 7-figure income earners. How about that?
Awesome.
Glory to the Lord.
Amen. Yeah. That's my goal.
Income figure. Yeah. Okay. That's a goal. You know what? I don't know if that's actually a goal of mine. Because the amount of work it takes me to get what I'm getting right now, I'm going to have to do a whole bunch different. How about that? Okay. So I'm going to say Ms. Harkless wants to know, what would you say is the best way to handle someone you know who did your illustration? Give them a lump sum for their services or work out a legal contract to give them a percentage of every book sale? She has some great questions. This young lady is ready to do something with her book. So you need to make sure you get in touch with me, us, somebody. How we answer that question?
I would go towards the legal contract. Definitely would never give them a lump sum up front. If you came to me talking about a lump sum, I'm looking at no. Don't do that. Have that contract and make it be feasible. Make sure it's feasible for you. Even if it's say, I don't know, say they want to charge you $1,000 for the illustrations and they ask for half up front or a third up front, that's more workable, because if I'm giving you a third, then I expect to see something in the midst of that. One of the things I messed up with, because I was new to it, I had found someone to do illustrations. I can't remember where, it might have been Craigslist or whatever, because I was new at it. And the person sent me one design, but something just on the inside of me didn't feel right. I said, something's not right about this individual. And I didn't have a contract, but I ended the relationship. And that showed me that they weren't legit either, because they didn't send me anything that showed any thing showing that they were legit. So definitely go the legal route. When I did my illustrations for my book, I used Fiverr. I came through a recommendation and I didn't have any issues with the person that I chose with Fiverr. So I would definitely go through the contract. If they don't draw one up, you draw one up. If they refuse to sign it, then you don't even go into that relationship. Move on to the next person.
Can I say something? Yes, I do want to mention in some of the posts that I put out there for this project, Do It Right the First Time, attorney Nakia Gray spoke about the work for hire agreement, in which it lays out everything, how much you're paying, what's actually being done in this project, but have them do a work for hire agreement. That's the name of the agreement that you need for different things like illustrations.
Okay. Absolutely. Another thing I would say, because I've done my own children's book, and I've published, I think, 3 children's books for clients that have, working on one now, but 3 children's books with illustrations. And one of the things you definitely want to have is an illustrator agreement, and it lays out the terms, how many illustrations they're doing, what type of illustrations they're doing, how many characters in an illustration, what you're paying them per illustration. Are they doing the cover? Are they dropping the text? Are they doing the layout? And it lists the pay schedule. So for my children's book, she charged like $70. It came to about, because she was over in Scotland. So it was a transparent, the currency equivalent. But it was about $70 per illustration. But now my illustrations were full color, top to bottom page. So they were 8 by 10 size. Well, you make them a little bit bigger. The specific size you want to make them bigger for the purpose of bleeding. But so my images were full color, and most of them had 2 characters. Some had 3, some had 4. Very deep in the background. So I made out like a bandit at $70 per image. I understand now she charges $400. Now we had a good working relationship. It wasn't that I did her wrong. It was a first time for me and a first time for her, and so we both learned as we went along. But I think what we realized is, once my book was released, and people started coming to me, hey, who did your book? So I started sending people to her. She's like, oh, wait a minute, this is valuable. Let me up my prices. So now, 3 years later, her prices are higher, which they should be. Everybody's prices increase. Yeah. But you definitely want to have an illustrator agreement, because that defines like how you're going to pay them. Are you going to pay via PayPal? You're going to pay via check? You're going to pay by credit card? It indicates when you're going to get paid, when they're going to get paid, but it also indicates what they have to give to you to get paid. Like you said, do it in draws. If you pay them up front and they gone with your money, don't do it. It could be disastrous. You're feeling some kind of way. So, absolutely. All right, so that was a great question, Ms. Harkless. I hope we answered it. I hope you're still here. You got another question? We got the children's book author on the line right now. That's not the only type of book she does. That's correct, right? You got other books.
Yes, I have other books, but the children's books, actually, they were the first 3 that I published. And so, like you said, with the illustrator, like I have no idea, because I haven't published one in a while to even know where the cost began. And I know it wasn't with the last quote, but mine wasn't full page, because my children's books were chapter books. So I had maybe about 3 illustrations within the book. Most of my color came from the outside cover. So it will definitely change in price depending on how many illustrations, how big you want the illustrations to be, and everything. But like Val said, get that contract. And if it don't seem good, don't go into it, just because sometimes we can be in a hurry to get it done. Don't be in a hurry. This is your baby. If you've had a physical baby, it's your baby. And so you want to make sure that it's done right. And so don't rush into anything.
First time.
Yes.
If at all possible, because I get a lot of people who want me to either republish their book or they want me to, help them fix their book.
Mm-hmm.
And often the mistakes that they've made, even though they might be minor mistakes, they are costly to fix.
Yes.
And to get your, can you still connect with the cover designer? Are they still in business? Do you have to start all over with the cover?
Yeah.
Or they use free ISBN, and now they realize, well, I can't market it everywhere I wanted to market. So now I got to buy an ISBN. Got to get a new ISBN. Got to change the inside of the book. Got to change the cover design. So and while you're making all those changes, you could possibly losing sales. So it's important, like you said, to do it right the first time. Get that contract and be sure to do that. One of the strategies you recommend to jumpstart your writing career?
It's many ways you can do it. You can do an outline. When you're in school, you learn outline. I wasn't a big fan of outlines, but I think a book vision board is really helpful because you get your magazine clippings and you just start putting your book on that board to give you that visual of what you think you possibly want that book to look like. So you break it down. You have your character part, you have your plot, and then you kind of determine your climax. When I wrote my first book, I knew the climax of the story already. So I had to build around that climax. How am I going to get my main character to that climax? And then, like I said, over the hill, the ending out that story. So that vision board gives you a visual. It gives you not only a visual. So if you're a learner, if you learn by hearing, you might want to speak it in a recorder. If you have, we have so much technology now, you can download a recorder on your phone and you can talk yourself through your story. Then you go back, you listen to it, and then it'll help you say, okay, that's what I said. Let me see. This is how I'm going to develop this character. This is how I'm going to do that character. So that's two, to me, I think, more creative ways of dealing with the book. You could do the old-fashioned outline like we learned in school, but I never could write from an outline. I always went around the outline, or the outline just was a waste of my time. But that visual book board or speaking that idea through my recording and talking my way through it, that's a great way to me that will help you kickstart. And then also once you do it, you got to sit down and write it. Sometimes we can have great ideas, but then we never sit down to bring those ideas into fruition. So once you do it, sit down and, start putting pen to paper.
Absolutely. And if you, Denise Walker, who thank you, Denise, for changing your infographic, your profile picture book. Woohoo! That's what she says. She uses an outline. I'm like Dr. Siobhan. I can't use an outline. And I learned something from Dr. Velma, who will be on in just a second, is that I do what's called the jigsaw method. And I learned the term from her. And I would get frustrated at times with what I was doing because I would start something, then I would put it aside and pick it up and move someplace. And it was just like, what's going on? I'm like, yeah, don't question it. And Dr. Velma named it for me. She put a name to, how about to say, claim it and name it. Well, the Bible don't say that. The Clark sisters did. But it's a good way to, it helped me to, give myself permission to do what works best for me.
Yes.
And I think that's important for authors or writers or authors to understand is a method that works for one person may not work for you.
That's
Outlines
true.
don't really work for me because I do the jigsaw method. There are something called the bubble mat technique. I've used that one before. And there's several other techniques that we've mentioned in the anthology that different people have used to help them take their story from out of their head onto paper, because that's a big deal. People are like, I'm so overwhelmed with writing. I just can't. It's taking me 15 years. Look, with the 15 years, even though I don't feel like it right now, the writing is the easy part. I know it doesn't feel like it, but it's not. It's an easy. It's not the writing is difficult, right? It's something that you can just, let me say this. Writing is difficult when you're in the middle of it. When you get to publishing, you're like, oh, wait a minute, that writing was easy. And now I gotta learn this, I gotta learn that. And then marketing, that monster right there is ongoing. It's like a little piranha taking constant little bites out of you. You better do something. You better keep swimming, or the piranha gonna get you. Right? You have to be consistent and deliberate and intentional about what you want to do and when you want to do it.
That's true.
Yeah. So I got somebody here who's commented that they had a challenge with a publishing company. Okay, yes. Okay, I got you. So, anyway, here's another one. Scrivener. Oh, thank you. Look, Denise, she out the interview, but she coming up with all kinds of stuff. Scrivener is good to electronically organize. I've never used it. Actually, I do a lot what Siobhan said. I drop stuff into my notes on my phone, and then if I think about it, I can transcribe it. Notes now already typed up. I can send it to my email, then I can start downloading, moving stuff around. It's all jigsaw. It works for me. Is this lead a song? Oh no, that's not lead a song. Okay, our children's book illustrations cost based on what type of characters you choose. For example, humans only with animals or creative characters. So we still have 2 children's book authors. Now, I haven't introduced Dr. Velma. She's a little bit early, so let me introduce her. Siobhan, Dr. Siobhan, I'm sorry.
No problem.
Dr. Siobhan, okay. You hang on. Don't leave us yet.
Okay.
I'm going to introduce Dr. Velma. Dr. Velma, and her website is drvelma.com. Miss Queenie said hi. Story is Finding Your Voice After Corporate Laryngitis. We talked about that title because she was explaining to me what was going on. I've been in corporate for so many years, and now how do I, her stories about how do I take this voice that has been trained to have a certain tone to it to be one that is receptive to potential readers. So we came up with that title, yes, After Corporate Laryngitis. So she is the CEO of Adonai Publishing. Dr. Velma has 10 books in multiple genres, including a children's book she co-authored with her 6-year-old granddaughter. That is so precious. Awesome. I did my book with my grandbabies too. She helps Christians experience fulfilling romantic relationships by serving single women to recognize their worth, counseling couples considering marriage, and salvaging spouses from divorce. So that is Dr. Velma. So Dr. Velma, since you are here, let's go back to that question. And what feedback do you have for her? And then Siobhan, I'm assuming it's a her. Yes. If not, I apologize. And then Dr. Siobhan, I'll ask for you to give your feedback on it as well. Okay. So Dr. Velma.
Yes, ma'am.
So
can you hear me okay?
I can hear you. I guess I'm hearing you through either Dr. Siobhan or Shar, so we're gonna make this thing work. So illustration class based on what type of characters you choose. So what feedback would you give to that LS?
I think the illustration cost has a lot to do with the illustrator and the quality of the work that they do, whether it's fictional characters or animals or humans, because one of the projects my granddaughter and I are going to work on next year is her own story of being discouraged in her dance class, being told she couldn't do what she is now mastering. And so we want to make that a children's book. The ones that we have out now was based on her imagination of an alphabet world that was multicultural. And so she was the one that actually created the story. And so these are fictional characters. So I didn't have to make sure I had someone who knew how to capture her features correctly or any of that, because these were fictional characters. So the level of the work, I was able to commission someone who's outside of the country. Didn't have a great relationship with that person towards the end, and I had to commission someone else to finish the second book. So she now has 3 books out. But the persons that I'm looking at now, I have already begun pursuing the work of a couple of folks, and they're very good, very quality in terms of what they're able to do in capturing the features of people. And so therefore, I know these guys, they're a couple of guys, they are going to cost. And so therefore, I know that I'm going to have to pay some money in order to get what I'm hoping we can do with this next book.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm sorry, I'm trying to make sure we can see everybody, but it just ain't happening. Dr. Vaughn, what would your feedback be?
I agree with Dr. Velma. It's not about whether it's a human character or animal character. It's about the illustrator. Can they bring that vision to light? Do they have the gift that they proclaim to say they have? So my book, my character was based off of me. I'm the child in this book. I told my story from events from my childhood. So when I chose the illustrator, I took a childhood picture of myself and I sent it to them to replicate this, make this young girl look like a character in a book. And so the young lady that I had chosen at that time on Fiverr, she did an excellent job. She took my whole vision because I had it down to the T. I knew what I wanted my character to wear and everything. And so she did it. And so it just boils down to the illustrator. And you're gonna might have to pay some money. You may get someone who is new in the field but still do excellent work, and they may not charge as much. But hey, we're in inflation now. I haven't even started looking. I have the idea finally for my next book with my character, the fourth children's book, but I haven't even tapped in to see what illustrations would cost me. Well, fortunately, in my books, like I said, because they're chapter books, I don't have a lot of illustrations, so it won't be the cost of someone who has a full colored kids book versus kind of books that I have. But definitely, I think I'm a word of mouth person. And so if somebody give a recommendation, I'm more quick to go with that word of mouth versus searching out for someone else, because if somebody can speak to that for that person, that's to me the best type of business, and you got a higher chance of getting quality work.
I was going to say, sorry, Valerie, were you getting ready to say something? I was just going to confirm what the doctor just said. I agree with her. I have learned from that first experience, and I have found that I value those within the tribe of my circle and who they say is best. And that's how I found the couple of guys I'm looking at right now. Anything concerning business related to writing, that's what I rely on, the people that I know and who they know. And so therefore, I don't have to go through a long drawn out process trying to understand if this is the right person. Can they do what they really say they can do? And so it cuts through the chase, just relying upon the people that I trust.
Absolutely. And I was going to say another aspect of the cost of illustrations. Like, are you going to do something like Dr. Seuss where you've got 4 colors, white, teal, black, and red, and you've got these big characters, like you said, that don't really require any real, detail? Or are you going to have something like more realistic? The complexity of pictures, are you going to have full background? So you can have a quarter, a half, or what they call full images. So all of that plays into the cost of your manuscript. Do you want them to use watercolors, or are they going to draw by hand? Is it going to be a digital? Something they do on some digital software or something. So all of that plays into the cost of your illustration, and of course the number that you have. So great question, LS. And so at the end of the day, almost all of our answers are it depends. There's just so many factors involved in it. If you're going to are you going to do full color, or are you going to do black and white? The sketches, like Diary of a Wimpy Kid, he's just sketches. So that's going to be a lot less than a full color image.
That's true.
All right, we got another question here. What are some red flags to let one know their publishing company is not right for them? All right, Shar, I'm going to let you start. We're just going to work our way across. And Dr. Siobhan, let me know if you have to go.
Okay, I will.
Okay.
So with a publishing company, you should have, the first thing you should do is have a discovery call with them. And in that discovery call, you have a conversation, and just to see if you're meeting, you have the, like, if they can accomplish the needs that you have as an author. So the most important thing is vetting that publishing company, getting other people who were published by that company. Word of mouth is very important. Like both of the doctors said, word of mouth is so important. And then having that conversation, and then that company should have a contract. And some other things that you may want to think about is the price, and what that company is offering you. So just making sure that you agree with everything that publisher is saying. If it doesn't feel right, then it doesn't feel right. Don't force it. Sometimes people are so anxious to become a published author that the first contract that they get, where they're not owning the rights to their book, which means that maybe the publishing company is getting the ISBN in their name, and that's not what the customer wants. The customer wants the ISBN to be the International Standard Book Number to be in their name. So it just depends on what you're looking for. Having that conversation. If something doesn't feel right, then 9 times out of 10 is not right. So just having that upfront conversation and making sure that publishing company, has referrals, people that actually work with them, and making sure that it's a good fit. Because just like in a relationship, it's a relationship. So making sure that you feel good with what that company is going to offer, and if it's going to fit, your need as an author.
Absolutely. Now, Dr. Siobhan and Dr. Velma, I don't know if you ladies publish books for other people, but you want to provide some insight to that question, Dr. Siobhan?
I haven't published for other people yet, but I totally agree with Shar, what she said, because when I started the process, I did the research, and you would get emails and just outrageous prices. And I'm like, okay, that doesn't fit my purse. So I ended up going the self-publishing route, and you just have to use wisdom. Like she said, if it doesn't sit well in your gut, don't do it. Don't be anxious for nothing. Don't rush into it, because you don't want to get in a place where now you're stuck. You may have lost control over it, because I own everything. I have my own ISBN. It's published under my publishing name. It's mine. I don't have to, when I sell, I don't have to give any royalties to anyone. But so those are some things to take into consideration. So I'm not knocking traditional publishing and having other people publish. And even when I see, and I see people out in social media asking, Val will tell you, I say, go to Val, because she's one of the ones that I know that publish for other authors, and I feel like she will do what's right by you. So I do that. I do the referral recommendation, because right now I haven't felt led to publish for anyone else. So I'm very mindful when I see people are interested in publishing and maybe don't even know, because some people don't realize the difference in it, like what it really means to self-publish and what it really means to be a traditional publisher. So what do? If I don't know the answer, I'll refer you to someone who I know. Like you said, the circle of people that I'm familiar with, that's who I send the people to.
Absolutely. What about you, Dr. Velma? Do you
No, I do not. I have my LLC to self-publish my own books and my granddaughter's books, which more are coming. But I initially I thought I might, but I decided that is not my lane. That is not, it's important to know what your calling is. That is not my calling. What I do is I do offer kind of the discovery call conversation. If I can help give them direction, if I can refer them, like Doctor just said, I'll refer them to companies that I really respect, that can provide them with the services that they're looking for. If it's something I can't direct them to do so that they can do on their own, then I will refer them to a company that I'm familiar with. But I am not offering those services at all. When I started out, I thought I would, but I decided my hands are full with what I have to do already. But I understand that journey in the beginning, where you just have so many questions, you don't know which way to go. So I try to open myself up to those opportunities to just have a conversation and then point them in the direction they need to go.
That's true.
Absolutely. See, I had no intention of publishing clients' books, and now I'm 170 authors. But here's what happened with me. Because my gifting is teaching and administration. That's my gifting. And so I was helping Vanessa do her thing and then telling her, consider this, do that, on the left brain stuff side of things. And so I started having conferences. I'm like, all these people are making mistakes. They're spending way too much money. We should start doing conferences. So Vanessa was like, I don't want to do no conference. You do a conference. So I did a conference. And then out of those conferences, I remember it was a right-on workshop. It had to be in 2006. I started doing conferences in 2004. 2006, this lady said, I'm giving all this information. This lady stood up and said, excuse me, Miss class? I said, yes, ma'am. She said, all this information is great and everything, but what would you charge me to do the work?
Wow.
What? I don't want to do this. I don't want to learn this. This is too much for me. I don't have time. This is not, as you said, Dr. Bella, this is not my lane. What would you charge me to do the work? And I was like, oh, I hadn't never even thought about publishing other people. So at that point, I said, okay, work this thing out. It started going, and now from, like I said, 100. I said, something to look at. First of all, to me, one of the first red flags is they don't have a website. Typos all over their website, that's a red flag. Because that means they're going to have typos in your book. If they don't care enough to at least put a good face on front, they're not going to, they're going to have at least a concern for the quality of your book. That's one. I think another red flag is, like Char said, you should be able to connect and talk to a live person when you have a question. So I do discovery calls with my clients or potential clients, and we connect. And sometimes I end up ministering to them or pulling information out of things like, what is it that you want to do? Because oftentimes they're not really clear. I've got all these ideas. I don't know which one to try first. So we'll talk through that thing. But in doing that, what happens with a lot of people, they say, you were so easy to talk to, and this was great, and I learned so much. Will you publish my book? So it kind of transitions into that. But you got to talk to somebody and connect with them and make sure that that you're mutually a good fit. Because I've had some people who weren't a good fit for me, and I had to terminate agreement because the potential author wasn't teachable. The service for you, I'm telling you what's going to sell it, or get paid speaking engagements, or get the media attention. But you want to charge $20 for a book that should be $12.99. Put your face on the front. You don't want it edited. I can't put mine on it. If you don't let me edit it, it's not gonna say Queen Bee Publishing. I don't know what's in it. So it has to be a mutually reciprocal type relationship. Because when I work with my office, I'm usually with them from anywhere from 6 months to a year, from editing and all the other stuff that goes into it. So absolutely. Okay, we get more questions, so let's those. Ms. Denise just added in the answer that traditional publishers don't request money up front. They never request money from you as a traditional publisher. They cover all the expenses to publish your book. They do editing, cover design, all that. And then what ends up happening is you may or may not sell your rights to them. It depends on how you and your agent work it out. But then they pay you advances and royalties.
Okay.
So that's what a traditional publisher, with a book producer, which is what I do and what Shar does. You pay us to publish your book, and then we produce high quality products. So like 70% of my clients are Amazon, different types of bestsellers, but most of them are Amazon bestsellers. And I got an A+ rating on the Better Business Bureau because I'm not playing with this. God told me to do this, and I'm going to do it. Book. Let me be very clear. Okay, here's another question. Just let me know.
Okay, I will.
Okay, question. My genre is Christian fiction. If your publishing company tells you to dummy down your words, because talk using big words, should I stand my ground? Ooh, let me answer this one first. First of all, if your company told you to dummy down, I feel some kind of way. I would feel some kind of way. But let's look at this. I will say that I had a young lady give me a book. It wasn't Christian fiction. It was her life story. First of all, it was 400 pages, 8.5 by 11.
Oh my
so it was too big. I said, you got a 7-headed monster. There's something in Greek mythology called the tetrahedron. Seven-headed snake. And I think it was Hercules cut a head off and another head grow back. I said, we got to cut off about 5 of these 6, these 7 heads. You got too many heads going on, too many main things going on. We got to kill the beast. But in that, I said that to say that her manuscript, she used massive, like Dr. Miles Monroe words. Have you ever read Dr. Miles Monroe? I got to have a dictionary. I can't get into that. It's too much for me. I'm a fairly smart person, but when I got to pull out a dictionary to understand what this 8-syllable word means, I can't read your book. So if you pick this, a couple things you need to consider, Harkless, is your audience. What are you trying to convey to the audience? Are you using quote unquote big words as a way to communicate your message? Are you using it as a way to show your intelligence? Are you using it because the reader use those kind of words? So you first got to identify who you're trying to reach with your message too, I don't know if they're saying you're too spiritual. I don't know if they're saying the words are too big, but you want to be mindful of who you're writing to. Mm-hmm. Then there's something, Microsoft Word, called the Flashman's Reading Guide. So say you're writing to Christian women aged 30 to 50, you can go into this reading guide, highlight your words, and it will tell you, after you do the grammar check, it will tell you the reading level of the person who's reading your book, who needs to be able to read your book. So if the average reader reads on an 8th grade level, you want your book to read like an 8th grade. Now, I'm not saying dumb down your words, but I'm saying you don't want to have such long words and long sentences and complex sentences that people have to read it 5 times to understand what's being said. Yeah. So just be mindful of who your audience is. Choose your words wisely. And I would add more specific. So don't just say dumb down your words. Like, give me an example. Yeah. What phrase specifically are you talking about? It may legitimately be changed, or they just may not be able to understand what you're doing. If they don't understand, they don't think about it. Yeah. Dr. Velma?
Yes, ma'am.
What would your response be?
I agree with what you said. I was sitting here thinking, is the book for her? Is the book for her audience? Because what I like to see and what I want to know and how what words I like to refer to is for me. But it goes back to something Shar said earlier, making sure you understand who your audience is and whoever that audience is. I think you mentioned something about making sure your book is solving a problem. And if it's intended to solve a problem, especially if it's Christian fiction, whatever you're intended to point the attention to, then you have to make sure that whatever words you're using, whatever approach you're using, is meeting the need of that particular audience. So I might like big words, and there's certain things I might like to see from myself. But when I'm targeting my book to a particular audience, I have to make sure that it's addressing them, that it's at the level that they will receive it. And so that's what's important. So who cares about the big words? Maybe that's what I like. Maybe that's what you like. But does your audience like it? Will they resonate with you in the book based on the words that you use? And most likely, no.
Right.
No.
You gotta wisely. Okay, so Dr. Velma, we got a couple more minutes. You don't have to leave at the time, but tell us a little bit about your story on finding your voice after corporate laryngitis.
I was going back over my draft and some words stood out to me, and it was like I was reading it for the first time. And the word that stood out for me was the word that the corporation silenced my voice. That was powerful. Even though you and I talked and you right away zoned in on, oh, that's laryngitis. You zoned in on that right away. But when I read those words, how working for state government silenced my creativity, silenced my voice, because my job and what I was getting paid to do was to write for them, was to communicate how they want things to be communicated. That's how I was trained. So I was good at making sure I was communicating with their voice, whether I was speaking to a group or writing something to the managers and offices I was responsible for. So learning to find and discover who I was as a writer was a challenge for me. And so as we talked about what my particular piece would be, it just really evolved because it made me go back and look at the struggles I had in the beginning, which is why I love this project. Because had I had it back in 2012, I could have done a lot more by the time I released that very first book. And it was because I was listening to all of these voices and advice from folks who were saying, you got to do it this way. You got to say it like this. And here I was very comfortable in my corporate shoes, but I had to discover, well, what is my voice? What does Dr. Velma Bagby want to say? And by the way, it's a THD, Valerie. And it came tears. So I had to go back and discover that. And what I learned was I had a lot of corporate habits that you can't use in your writing voice. I had the habits of using lots of adverbs. I had the habit of telling you, not showing you. Because that's the corporate language. We're going to tell you what you need to know. That's it. And so all of those things I had to go back and undo to discover who I was. And even the folks who suggested, after wrestling a couple of years with writing, trying to find my own voice, who suggested I create an outline and that would help me to get finished faster. That's why I had to do some digging to figure out, okay, well, what is my style? I am so creative in terms of how I create and how I think. I found out about that jigsaw method, and that just set me free. So what it does is, in discovering what your voice is, discovering what style is best for you. I love the fact that coming from corporate is a one way only. If there's only one way you can say it, there's only one way you can write it. In writing, there is no one way. Even your approach, there's so many different approaches you can use. You just have to figure out what's comfortable for you. And what I found was comfortable for me, and they use it a lot with children, teaching them how to write. I'm not saying it's basic, but it's who I am. And that is, I will create on whatever piece I want to create at that moment. I know what the book is about. I know what the subject is. But in that given moment, I'm writing and creating about a piece that may be at the end of the story. It may be at the middle. It may be at the beginning. I won't know until I get more pieces together. And as I continue to do that and write whatever I'm inspired to write in that moment, as I get the pieces, it's only then that I realize, oh, this piece is going to go here. This piece is going to go there. It's like putting the puzzle together. And that's my approach to writing. I found that I don't include dialogue until sometimes later. I get the creative side of myself on paper first, and then I go back and add my dialogue. I find that's comfortable for me. And so what I'm saying is, there's no one size fit all like my life was in corporate. It's a one size fit all kind of life. So I had to learn to transition away from that life and learn to find my own voice and use my own creativity in that approach. And so that's how I discovered the jigsaw method. And once I discovered it, boy, my writing took off, because then I was comfortable with the approach that I was using. So no outline for me. It doesn't work. I'm a visual learner also. So having puzzle pieces work for me. And I was glad I discovered it.
Okay. Well, thank you, Dr. Velma. Thank you, Dr. Siobhan. I appreciate you ladies. You picked both of these PhD honors at drvelma.com. And Dr. Siobhan is Siobhan. So now I have Joy Lynn.
So
should we exit short?
I'll have to call Valerie.
Okay, I'm on the call, but I don't know how this is working. Hello.
Okay, so we have to go through the phone because her speakers are not working.
Oh,
so,
okay.
So let me call her. Are you calling Valerie? Did she call you?
Well, I called, but I'm not sure.
Okay, sure. Yes, she's on the phone now. Yes.
Let me see if I can hear. Talk, Miss Joy Lynn, please. Let me see what's going on. Can I hear you?
She wants you to talk, Joy. Joy Lynn.
Hello. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Wonderful.
So she can hear you.
Okay, great.
Going in and out. So let me.
Do you want to call her? I think she's going to call you.
Oh, okay. Because I think when I had it on speaker, it was getting some echoes.
Yeah, because then once she calls you, I'll hang up. Let me see.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Hi, you've reached Valerie.
Oh, her voice came on. So.
Hey, Valerie.
So you can mute now. Let me tell you something. The devil is a liar. They've been saying, so I hope y'all been praying for me. This has been a challenge because got a new laptop and I was in the middle of a Zoom training and all of a sudden the speaker went out, everything out.
Yeah,
I don't know how to fix it. So.
It's one of them happy Mondays.
Joylyn M. Ross, I'm so glad you could make it. Thank you so much. Her website is on the screen, pathtopublishing.com. her story in the anthology is how I sold 100,000. Yes, that's the one with 5 zeros behind it. Copies of my children's book and ways you can do it too. So it ain't just about how she did it. She's telling you how you can do it.
Yes, yes,
For you on the
yes.
process, Joylyn M. Roth and her team of experts and industry professionals can chauffeur you along your journey. Joylyn has traditionally and self-published over 40 books. She helped thousands of authors reach their measure of literary success as a consultant, publishing coach, and curriculum creator for the annual Act Like an Author conference. Joylyn is CEO of Path to Publishing, an author assistance company and literary service provider. And let me just put this out here. Can I say what you? Can I put that out here?
Yes, you can.
Oh, okay. So she has asked that Do It Right the First Time be part of her required read for her curriculum.
Yes.
I'm excited about that. I appreciate that because, this has definitely been a labor of, I guess it's love. It's a labor of love. So, Joylyn, tell us about your contribution.
Well, my contribution, how I sold over 100,000 copies of my children's book, and you absolutely can do it as well. And it's no dangling carrot. I'm sharing inside that story with you tips, information, resources, systems, and strategies on how to position your children's book for both literary success and financial literary success, or one or the other, whichever you desire and whatever your personal measure of success is. So what I do know is that if I had this resource, and if I knew then what I know now, this is not even stuttering. I could have sold 10 times the amount of children's books that I sold. Okay. And it's just such a delight to share the tips, information, and resources, because a lot of times people, they see literary industry experts and professionals, and yes, we have our services, we have our consultations and everything, but we don't bottle up everything and sell it. Okay. We don't bottle up everything and sell it. But look, this book, it's a message, and it costs to move message. The editing wasn't free. The book cover design wasn't free. Okay. So there has to be a price tag on it. But I want you to know the resources inside, it's priceless. It is invaluable. The only reason why it has the price tag on it, because again, it costs money to move a message. But I know I'm speaking for all of the experts involved. Our main reason for taking part of this event was and is to serve you so that you can do it right the first time. Because I know we live in a society where we're taught, just get it out there. You're good enough is good enough. But this is life-changing information we're putting out here. This is life-saving information when we're sharing our written word, regardless of the genre, whether it's romance, children's, street lit, what have you. We are putting a message out there, okay? And your good enough is not good enough if it can be better. And your better isn't good enough if it's not your best. And what we all came together to do in this resource is to make sure that not only do you do your best the first time, but that you don't just do the best that you can do, but that you do all that you can do. I'm not saying you're going to follow every system and strategy and resource that the experts share with you, but you are going to do what lines up with your personal measure of success and your personal literary dreams, visions, and goals. So no, you don't have to do everything, but dang going to do something, okay?
Absolutely. And well, as we talked about before, if they try to do everything, it will probably be overwhelmed.
Oh.
Just like Shar said with the social media, pick 2, 3, 4 strategies, implement those, master those, move on to 2, 3, 4 more until they become second nature or routine, or you have some assistant or somebody who can help you move the project forward. Because nobody's seen the whole book yet but me and the editor. When I tell you there's some stuff in here, I've been doing this since 2006 officially, and about 5 years prior to that unofficially. There's stuff in there I had no idea. It's like, oh, that's good. Oh, that's good. I got to do that. I got all kinds of notes for myself So Shar came up with the idea of the workbook, and you gave great examples, even in the workbook, of how to take the information you shared, now apply it to your book. Don't just read it.
Yes.
Regurgitate what's in there.
Valerie, can I just say, and you tell me if I'm lying, we didn't do this because we didn't inspire you. Okay, we didn't put this together. Like Valerie said, it was a labor of something. And I'm sure she didn't put this together to inspire you, because being inspired and inspirational, that's fine. You know, it's emotional, but to incite you, okay? With incitement, there is an action that takes place. So this is great information and you can get inspired and be all gung-ho, but we're giving you practical tips and information that you can begin to implement and execute now. So Valerie, again, like I said, if I'm wrong, tell me, but is this movement, which I will continue to refer to it as, is this movement to incite people to implement and execute these strategies? So again, no pun intended, they can get it right the first time.
Absolutely. Incite, excite,
right.
All of that. Inspire is great, but we want to empower. We want to empower you to do something.
Yes.
Yes, applied knowledge. So now you got this stuff applied. That's wisdom.
Yes.
I didn't calculate because I didn't bother to ask you all how many years you've been into this, but I know it's over hundreds. I mean, between me and you, we probably got almost 50.
Yes. I've got 25. Yep, I've got 25 plus.
Absolutely. So I'm sure it was 70 just with us three. So there's hundreds of years of experience consolidated into this book to help people do it right the first time. So Joe, let me ask you this. Why is it important to do it right the first time?
It's important to do it right the first time because let me tell you something. Writing the book may be the and I hate to say easy, but when you're between a rock and a hard place and you have to compare scars and wounds, writing the book, because you're working with those professionals, you're working with your book coach, your editors, that could very well be the easiest part compared to actually not just marketing and promoting, but selling. Okay, but selling. We say our book is our baby. We say our book is our love. Our book is our passion. For some, our book is a hobby. But publishing is a business. Okay, and it's the humble thing to say nowadays. Oh, I do this whether I got paid or not. But like I just said, it costs to move a message. Okay, it has to come from somewhere. It costs to move a message. So circling back to why it's important to do it right the first time, you don't have time to keep going back doing it over and over and over and over. Yes, I do preach and teach to my authors that I work with that there's a such thing as do-overs in life, and we call them a relaunch. But I mean, come on now, how many P. Diddy remixes you gonna do on that book before you get it right? Okay, I mean, next thing, and so getting it right, and that way you have time to use your creativity with creative marketing, okay, creative promotions, and again, creative sales. So getting it right that first time, executing every task, and then again, that lines up with the goals you want to achieve, with your vision, your dreams, your goals. Doing that right the first time leaves you room, time, and money to, again, position yourself and your book to even reach measures of success that you never envisioned.
Absolutely. That's the thing I wanted, and I'm glad you hit it, is the money, because a lot of authors are already overwhelmed by some of the prices of things. Mm-hmm. Illustrations, editing, book printing. I was just telling, I think, Shar, before the interview started, I've been getting quotes for this particular book, and one of my printers said that they have a 4-month lead time because of paper supply and labor shortages.
Yes, so absolutely.
And the prices are higher. Everybody's going up in pricing. So when you look at all the cogs and wheels that go into publishing your book, it can be very expensive.
Right.
So why would you want to not do it right the first time?
Right, because mistakes cost money. Mistakes costs money. And like you said, Valerie, people think it's the humble thing to say, you know, this is our art. And I get it. Trust me, I get it. And that I would do this whether I got paid or not, and don't make it about the money. But again, it costs to move this message. And be careful, because I don't want to see you doing an interview talking about, oh, I do this whether I got paid or not. And as long as I reach one person, as long as I touch one person, as long as I change one life, and then you're the same person ranting on Facebook, oh, this writing thing isn't worth it. This writing, this publishing thing isn't worth it. I'm not making any money. I'm like, wait, you just put out into the universe that you would do it whether you got paid or not. The universe is listening. You're not getting paid, so keep doing it like you said. So be careful, okay? No fake humbleness, because this is real.
Right, absolutely. And I think, and some of that may come from the spirituality aspect, where we want to be humble and pride coming before destruction. But the Bible also says that people make room for you.
And the Bible also says multiply your gifts and talents.
Okay, absolutely. So let's take that. It's almost like a holier than thou. It's not a genuine statement. It's almost like a holier than thou statement, as opposed to a statement of humility. You know what I mean? It's almost like the reverse thing. Like, I really would do this if I didn't get paid, but you better pay me if you want to get to it.
Right. You want to reap the fruits of your labor, because let me tell you something. If one of your comments is, I would do this for free, then do it for free. Blog it. Send out some free ebook, PDFs. Don't put a price tag on it. And speaking of prices, Valerie, the cost of entertainment is going up across the board. Literary entertainment is going up as well. So since I've been in the industry, I've $14.95. I think every book I've ever, it's $14.95 for the last couple decades. So again, the price of entertainment is going up all around. We are literary artists. We are literary entertainers. And although I say nothing about this in my story and my contribution in the book, really think about your pricing, okay? Because we're teaching you how to write this book. Like I like to say, you're building the vehicle that you want to place on your literary journey. You're building your dream car. We're helping you build your dream car with our information. We're helping you build your book business, because again, publishing is a business, and we're teaching you how to create multiple streams of cohesive, keyword cohesive, literary income in order to be able to sustain that book business. So pricing is so important. I know they say, look at your competitors, look at industry standard, but so many people are afraid to up the price tag. Well, readers are used to this, readers are used to that. Well, readers probably watch movies as well, and they're okay with paying an increased ticket price to go see a movie. They're okay with paying increased ticket prices for Broadway plays to go see Beyonce. Like I said, we are literary artists. Are you not entertained? Okay.
We can't hear Valerie.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
I don't know. Can you hear me? Okay. I'm not really sure. I'll hold the phone up a little closer. But I just so appreciate your energy. You're always so lively and bubbly, but you bring it real and relevant. I mean, that's what people need to understand. This is the way because this is the business. Being an author is not for the faint of heart, and it's not really a hobby.
Right.
Not if you want to generate any significant income. So you definitely want to position yourself to, okay, be humble, that's cool, but then figure out how you're going to generate that revenue. Because like you said, book publishing costs, marketing costs, all that stuff adds up. This platform that I'm using now, StreamYard, there's a cost for that. So everything has a cost connected to it. And to recoup that type of money, you got to do the work.
Yes.
Absolutely. So, Ms. Jolene, I don't want to make you late for your next appointment. Thank you so much. Let me put your web page up here. She has passed the publishing, and she really goes in and helps people understand the process of how to publish by doing it right the first time.
Yes.
Okay, I know that's right. All right, Julian, thank you for being here. We appreciate your feedback and your liveliness. And
thank you again for allowing me to be a part of this movement. Y'all can watch how we move, or y'all can join the movement. That's all I can say. Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Well, that was a thing from
So I'm calling Valerie so she can do her closing. Valerie?
And I got to figure out why my brand new computer ain't doing what it's supposed to do. But Shar, just thank you so much. I appreciate you for staying on the line for the whole 2 hours. That was not, you didn't expect that.
No, I didn't.
I'm gonna have to do something special for you. I don't know. I'm gonna figure it out. But just expect something in the mail. Don't expect it right away because I got to figure it out. But I'm gonna get something for you because I really appreciate the time, energy, and effort that you put into helping me market and promote, and now do this Facebook Live interview. I appreciate you so much. So make sure you visit Shar at sharhalliburton.com. Shar is a social media strategist. Look, if you need help with your social media, we talked a lot about social media at the beginning. If you are overwhelmed with all this stuff, you don't know how to create infographics. What is a Canva? You talking about a canvas? What is a canvas? What did you say? A Hootsuite buffer? How do I do that? That's too much. Reach Shar. She has plans and packages where she will create. Do you create the content for them, or do you show them how to create their content?
It depends on what the needs of the customer is. I tailor make it based upon what they need. And my website, you got to do the HTTPS and then sharhalliburton.com. But yeah, based upon what you need, because every author may need something, someone may need something different. So we create a package based upon your needs.
Absolutely. We are excited. You're welcome, Denise. I'm so glad you're in the book. I had some great contributors in this book. I am so thankful that you all answered the call and you supplied such great stories and helped me, like Dr. Velma helped me put a name to what I'm doing, thinking I'm halfway on the cuckoo side. Like, I don't understand why I'm having just different than everybody else, but it all works for me. And like I said, make sure you visit Shar, HTTPS as a prefix, sharhalliburton.com for all your social media needs. She's got books on social media information. She's got she's publishing clients, and then she will also work with you to either help you create your own graphics and information for social media posts, or she will do it for you. Now, of course, to do it for you is much more expensive than to do it yourself, but it is what it is. You need help with what you need help with. So, Shar, thank you so much, madam. I appreciate you. You have a good day.
You too.
Thank you to everyone who was here and listening or getting comments. Let me see. Dr. Velma gonna be calling you, Shar. I know it. She's the bomb.com. You saw all the posts and stuff y'all was getting? That was her. Yeah, so y'all be sure to get in touch with her.
Thank you so much, Denise. Thank you, Dr. Velma, and everyone. Absolutely. Just make sure that you get this series of literary resources so that you can do it right the first time.
You know what? I forgot to mention that the book is chock full of resources. I take all the resources that people mention in their story and consolidate it into a chapter. So everything is right there at a glance for podcasting, for social media posting. Everything is there in addition to the stories from the different contributors. So yes. Thank you. You're welcome, Ms. Harkless.
Thank you.
I don't want to yeah. So yes, we appreciate you all. Be safe. If you haven't gotten the book, go grab it from Amazon. The ebook is live now. The print book will be available in October. Good Lord willing, and the creek don't rise, depending on what's going on with this pandemic and these labor shortages. Lord Jesus, He's gonna work it out. So you all be safe. Thank you, my friend. I love Cherie. She's one of my best friends. I just love her so much. She has a business now, and she does these special events. So maybe you, Shar, need to get with her. Cherie, you need to connect with Shar, because Shar does social media marketing. She can help you with that. Yeah, she's got a physical location. She needs some marketing assistance. That would be great. Shar's your person. All right, love you, Cherie. You all be safe. Shar, thank you so much. You all have a great one. Be safe.
Have a good night.